Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this week's eclectic edition of John with Jack, your favorite goblin hosted talk stream hosted on Monday evenings from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Yeah, I'm the Jack you're looking for, and welcome to this week's show where we're doing another eclectic type of selection of open lines. I'm going to be throwing out the invitation, the call in at various times throughout the show. We're going to have a couple people coming in to visit as they may. Nobody's staying the whole show. And I also wanted to use this week to just cover the basic stuff. Oh, there we go. Jack is great, and you should hit like on this stream. I mean, it's objective fact. I'm glad to have people, seeing this, overseeing the dog feeding. That is important business. I do not want to interfere with that. And Cyrus is the audience. Yeah, I mean, if everybody who's watching called in, we'd have nobody watching, or it would just be a conversation. Now, what we're doing is streaming the conversation so that we can preserve the educational elements for the rest of the world. And we do have some of that on offer today because I had a great experience this weekend running games at the Great Underground Online Gaming Convention hosted by the Dungeon Delver. Mrs. Jack, I don't know. I don't think you see her. Nope. Where? Oh, it is Velma. Yep, that is Mrs. Jack. Welcome, everybody. So, what we've got going on tonight is starting out talking about my experience with GUOGC, or the Great Underground Online Gaming Convention. It is a yearly event hosted purely online, totally free convention. It's organized and hosted on a Discord server by Bill Sylvie, the Dungeon Delver, who can also be found over on YouTube at the Dungeon Delver channel. I was in the server last year at the time of the event, but I was busy that week and I had learned about it kind of late, and I didn't really and actually I really hadn't even given into the online gaming that I've been involved in the last year or so. And so when this year came around, I decided I'm going to go ahead. It was months back, I think back before Christmas even. I just said I'm going to go ahead and commit myself to running a couple of Kal Arath sessions. That's the game I'm most in love with recently in recent years. The one I'm excited about sharing with other people. So that's what I did. Put a couple of those on the schedule. I did one at noon on Saturday and one on the evening on Sunday towards the tail end, just to hopefully give everybody a chance. And in the months since I set it up and I was like, I have no idea what I'm going to do. It's Kal Arath. Maybe I'm just going to hex crawl, run for it, do whatever. I don't have any sort of a plan. But in the months since, my friend, who is also a participant in our shared cooperative Kal Arath campaign on Discord, Purple Druid, sent me a module that he made himself called the Druid of Mantis Grove. By the Purple Druid is part of his Druid Quest project, which is, I'm not even entirely sure how to describe Druid Quest. He might be on later today himself to talk about it a little bit. I'll see if we can get him to wrap it up. But it is a gaming milieu campaign world style, very solo-centric, but it's also very eclectic from what I've seen from him. He's putting together his own way of doing things, of running a solo campaign that incorporates one-on-one time, wargaming elements, all the things, very much overlapping with other stuff. And what that means is he's got a very different and individual stylized way of doing things. He mixes a lot of stuff. Whereas when I play Kal Arath, I tend to be kind of a purist, more of a rules as written kind of a guy. And for this event, I decided, we were going to stick to just the core rules, which is the main 50-page pamphlet, the zine. And that's one of the things that I love about the aesthetic of Kal Arath is that, all the rules are just 4 little zines like this, right? And it's a surprisingly robust game. These are, I think this one got commissioned through a print shop. But the other 3, when I did this Kickstarter, this was my original investment in Kal Arath. And these are all things that, as far as I understand, he printed these up himself, folded them, stapled them, packed them up, mailed them. And it's just been an amazing game. I love it. I love it so much. I'm so glad to see everybody. Thank you, Scudder for Mike and Velma, my dear. And I got Mr. Dale, Michael Dale, who was in not just one, but both Kal Arath sessions this weekend and almost made it out alive. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and drop the invite link into the chat, because, Michael might want to hop on in and tell us his side of that story. The event was great. It was a great opportunity to test out this module. I had soloed it before, and just to get familiar with it, hit all the locations on the map, get an idea of what they're like in play. Yeah, pardon me. The deleted account, Mike. Mike the deleted. Deleted? I don't know. But in any case, if either Mike wants to hop. Now, the other, Scudder for Mike probably cannot join right now because he's on his way to work.
Hey.
Michael, it's been so long since I've seen you.
I know. I even got a little John with Jack phone line thing going on. How's that for?
Fantastic. Wait a minute. Do I have to reverse that?
No. Oh, maybe. There you go.
Now
I was backwards first this time.
Yeah.
I must have been reversed
all right.
last
Yeah. No, there we go.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's technology. It's strange. It's arcane.
Right.
I don't really understand it, and yet I make a living in it somehow.
I know. It's beautiful. You do a great job. So, yeah, I did get to play in both games. They were both absolutely epic. We barely made it out alive on the first one, but fought, from what you're saying, one of the hardest creatures you've ever seen running Kal Arath, which was super cool.
Yes, that was hands down the toughest fight I've ever seen, or even threw at anybody in Kal Arath yet. It was also the biggest group I've run in Kal Arath yet.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it was 6 both.
I had days, 6 players both days. And one of the great things, both days, I had 3 of the new players who had never played Kal Arath before all asked for invites onto the co-op server where we're having our co-op game. So big score there.
I know I got my 5 a.m. in the morning Sunday alarm set for the West Coast. Get into the Kal Arath game alarm. We'll see if I can get up and make it. But I had an absolute blast. Yeah, and then the second day, 2 of us out of 6 made it out alive. But it was one of the most epic
hardship
endings, right? Like, it was one of our own. It was our one and only mage. He had a plan. He was holding out this epic spell. He was able to get most of us out of the way. Like, we dove for the tree. We got plenty far away. There was a couple passed out. And, dude, he rolled a...
Let's go all the way back to the beginning. Let's go all the way back to the beginning. Day 1, the first one. That was the first session you were in.
Right.
And that, like I was saying earlier, I didn't really have a game plan until Purple Druid sent me the module, and I was like, great. I guess what I'll do is I'll just run it on both days, because I figured, well, if they finish it on the first day, well, now talk about your intro, how we did things, and what the opening of the game was like.
I actually have the opening of the game on video. I won't play it here, but I did screen capture.
We got another.
I haven't shared it.
We have
Valmar.
got
Nice.
Joining the show, Valmar Erebus. Pardon me, I almost said the wrong name again.
I muted myself. Sorry. How are you?
Good, man. How you been?
Good. I'm not very video worthy tonight, so this was.
Oh man, dude, I'm same. I'm like home from work, hard hat head.
Maybe you'll convince me. We'll see.
Oh, Scooty.
What's up, guys?
Scooty.
What's up? I had to come say hello.
I am so happy to have everybody here. It's great, man. And Michael was just starting to recap the big events we had this weekend. It was a great convention. Funny enough, for all my years of gaming, it's the first convention I've really participated in even virtually or in person. So it's is that something you guys have all experienced? Have you done cons in the
So
past?
that was my third guac, but I haven't been to an in-person. We tried to go to PAX once, but it was just crazy because it's actually pretty close by. Now I wouldn't go. But yeah, like I've done the guac 3 times. I got to play with Bill the first time in like a learn 1E AD&D. You know, he ran us through like the Dungeon Master Guide dungeon, right? And it was super fun.
Nice.
Played in something else quick and then went to all the artist panels. And the great thing about the guac, like I don't know if you attended any of the panels, but you get Richard Witters or you get Tracy Lesh, you know, who drew the first Mind Flayer and Roper. And he's been in movies, he's written books, he's done. And you get like Stephen Radney McFarlane was there this year, and he worked on 3.5, maybe even some 2, maybe 4th, worked for Paizo, whatever else. So you get, and dude, it may only be 4 or 5 people like show up to these things. So you basically have them to yourself.
Oh,
so
wow,
you can
that's
ask
awesome.
like, yeah, any of the great questions. So, you know, some go for a couple hours, some go for 3 or 4 hours, depending on how fun. So like those are great to attend, even if you don't get to play. But like Jeremy, man, he was in like 3 or 4 games, 5 games, maybe. He's like, his Saturday was 11 hours straight.
Wow. That's dedication.
Like, right. I mean, between the panels and your first game was 4 hours. The second one, I think we only went 3.5. It was an epic finish and perfect time to dip out. But, you know, and then the panels at 2 or 3 hours each. And then like, fuck, I streamed on Patty's and did something else. So I was same thing. Like I haven't sat in this chair down here in so long, you know?
Yeah.
I'm in the doghouse anyway, so it's
ended
good.
up not participating in any games. I'm glad I was able to run the 2 that I did, and it was exceptional. It was some crazy stuff. How about you, Valmar? Have you ever done?
I think we talk about that last time. I try to go to at least 2 to 3 a year.
Yeah, you've mentioned. I couldn't remember your experience.
The big one is Page, which PAX.
Yeah.
You mentioned PAX. That's in Pennsylvania, isn't it? Isn't that
so it's like they do an east, west, a south, and
like
they do a bunch. That one travels. Like that's the big.
Are you in the Pennsylvania area? Are you in that?
No. I've been there once. I've been to Pittsburgh once. Spent 3 days, but no, I'm in like Northwest, out in Washington.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Page, I have to say, it's if you look at the advertising, it's heavily advertised as a more 5e, and actually now it looks like they're transitioning to like Shadow Dark and Castles and Crusades, but they are loaded with first edition, second edition, basic, all the TSR games, like,
and easy to get into the games. Not
very.
So there's not 20,000 people.
Nice.
Well, especially
that sounds cool.
Like the stuff we, I assume, are more looking for. Like very easy to get into. I've never had a problem. And there's plenty of room there. So, you know, I've never been told no if there was something. And I run games, so I'll always let people in. There's plenty of, you know, actually move to a bigger table, no big deal. And smaller cons. Did I mention GrogCon? I probably mentioned GrogCon in Florida.
That's right.
Maybe that's all 1E, but that's very small. Very
nice.
Small.
That could be fun though.
That's really
everybody's friends.
Right.
Like, we've all grown to be friends, so
those are the best.
Yeah, now, we know each other very well.
Right.
Scooty, you got heavy into gaming when you moved to China. Was that so? Did you do conventions before that?
Well, no, I've never been to a convention in America, but we do have in Beijing the Genghis Khan Con every year.
Nice.
And so
the Con.
Yeah, we call it the Con.
Con.
Yeah, the Genghis Con is pretty great. And I run a game and I play a game in that every year. But it's mostly a board gaming convention for Chinese board game companies and the Chinese RPG companies. Right. There's a huge Call of Cthulhu following over here, and some 5e players. But OSE actually just broke into the market. They translated the books, and so now all of the Chinese content creators that follow old school games follow my YouTube channel. and so like they're always commenting on my stuff, which is pretty cool. But the better convention is actually just an RPG fundraiser that we do every year. We do it twice a year now, and the past 2 years we've been doing it twice a year, and we raise money. And next month in May is our next RPG con, and we're going to be donating to an animal shelter. And I'm trying to organize a game for OD&D of Braunstein with everybody that wants to play in the entire city, so up to like 40 people. I'm trying to get like interest in it, and most of the people here are Pathfinder 2e or 5e guys, so like they're kind of curious,
right?
But yeah, I'm gonna do everything I can to get an OD&D Braunstein going. So
wow, well, good luck with that, because that can be a hard sell in my experience. People who are used to if they're comfortable in the modern systems, they're not apt to take to 0e very easily.
Yeah, we're all going to war, and they're like, but the thing is like we have a lot of older guys, like 40, 50-year-old dudes who like they've heard of chainmail, they've been they've heard of OD&D, but they've never played it because nobody ever showed them.
Right.
Usually with those games, it's like you need somebody to kind of walk you through it the first time.
Right.
And so I'm gonna do chainmail plus OD&D. So I was thinking we'll do. Everybody gets a patron, everybody gets an army, and then also I'll be running dungeon level sessions there and jousting tournaments as well. So it'll be like an all day thing. Nice. So I don't know if I can't get that off the ground, I'll just run Mothership.
Our little private,
right?
We have which I think I mentioned as well. We have a group of friends have created we call it our Uncon. Like 6, the lowest actually was about 8, but we're up to like 12 or 13 guys. We get together in Virginia every Memorial Day weekend, and we run a bunch of different games there. But one of them started an OD&D campaign about 3 years ago, and so we just revisit it every year. So
that's cool.
Right. That's usually the only time I get to play it. Is like you said, it's not too many want to.
Well, ironically,
right.
To segue into something you and I have talked about, Val, is that I've recently been getting Grok to run from original D&D for me, and with some very interesting results.
Nice. I'm very interested because remember I left Grok, and
you did. Now I think I see some of the things that you're doing. Like I've been doing a lot of start a little story in a system, and I've just been all over the place going, well, will it understand this system if I give it? Does it understand Lone Wolf Fist? That's a difficult one, or whatever. But I started by feeding it those specific 4 books, the 3 little brown books and chainmail, and said, okay, set me up a campaign and let's go. And it has been interesting playing different ways. The 0E has been a lot more challenging at the base. Like, Grok really does seem to get the context of the game. When I was playing like with the SRD for 5e, and every time I try something risky or kind of crazy, it's critical success. You're over the top. It's really fudging the dice in my favor, And then
really
I played Wretched recently, and it's like, okay, I try something. You're dead.
Yeah.
Okay, let me roll up a new
character. I gotta go.
Like the project close. All right, Mike.
I'll see you later. Okay.
Love you, brother.
Mike. I just want to stop by and say hi. Y'all have a good one, okay?
Yeah. Hi. You too.
You really do have to guide like mine's gotten better. And I don't want to cut you off. Tell me all about yours because I want to hear about Grok, but
so
changes I've made.
I've already started and ended several campaigns. I don't hesitate to call them campaigns because they haven't lasted really long. It seems to me that I'm missing an essential step of reinforcing the continuity of the story. I seem to remember you talked about how you'll get exports of logs of what has happened and then put them in a
make it repeat. Yep. So I would suggest whatever calendar you use, you're more one-to-one time, right?
Typically.
So I would definitely be very strict about telling it that you want everything to conform to that calendar, because I use a Game World calendar, and every once in a while I'll test it. Like if we're not speaking, I don't like it to include the date on every post, because then it will literally do it on every post. And so if we're going back and forth, so I stopped it from doing that. But now say every few days of real time when I'm playing, I'll just throw out a random question. Hey, what day is it right now? When, or I may even go back. When did Thorn fight the ogre? And give me the game date, and just to keep it thinking about that. Hey, I could be way off. I don't know what it's saying, but it seems to work. That as long as
I gotta say, I've had similar results. There is a kind of an art to it, and I have noticed that if I refer back to things I say, and I say explicitly, like, no, you're remembering that wrong. Go back and check the story.
Yep. Oh yeah. Yep.
And it works to a degree. I found though that there comes a point where it starts really going off the rails. It's confusing events and characters and stuff like that, and just or gets stuck in almost a rut. It won't advance the story. So I kind of I get to this point where I feel like I really drove it off the rails, and then just start fresh with something else because I got a different idea. It's a ton of fun, but I haven't had something real consistent and long-term feeling spring out of it yet.
It's finally, and again, it's tough to say because you're using Grok, and I had the same issues with Grok, so I don't know. But I also gave up on Grok fairly quickly and went to ChatGPT.
Right.
Put most of my effort into the ChatGPT, so it's tough to compare. But I'm
kind of the same. It's like I've just used Grok the most, so that's where I stuck because I'm the most comfortable. But I'm willing, so I was like, well, I'm just going to beat this up and see how far I can get it.
I think you should, because probably a very similar experience is that if you keep doing hammering away. Remember, I've been doing this now 6-ish months.
Yeah. And now you're still same campaign. Is it like you're allowing time to pass differently? It's not 1-to-1 time, but you are tracking time.
Oh yeah, no, I very strictly. So I bounce in and out of our real campaigns and what I use my solo play to set up. Consider me the patron, I guess, and I use my character as the so-called patron, and I use my solo play to set up what's going on in the world for them to interact with. So what's going on right now is the king was getting very squirrely with me, and sent my character on a long expedition, and so I carefully tried to influence it into like, I don't really want to do this, and it's going the way I had hoped, where the king is probably plotting against me. I haven't been able to figure it out yet. I haven't been able to find an inn or whatever, but I use that to springboard a campaign. They were like, yep, we're into that. Let's go. So I paid them and sent them off, and they're doing what they're doing. So we'll see how it ties in.
That's brilliant to hear. And I know exactly what you mean about I'm using your solo play to drive the campaign that you're running for your group, because that's exactly what I did on Saturday with Michael and his people.
Right.
So the premise of this one, of course, it's very specific to the world, the Druid of Mantis.
This is what you told me about, right? This is the world you run on your Discord. Yes,
this is the 1-to-1 time. We're all solo players, but we co-op together when we go. I ran these as a group thing, but the person who gave them the quest giver, was my PC from my solo campaign, who said, I want you to bring me the head of this druid, and I'll pay you 1,000 coins to do it. And now, Michael, what you guys left? We were you were right on the bank of the river, debarked from the boat, and I said, you see something, and like, what happened after that?
Well, I mean, we saw a bunch of things, right? So you gave us options. It was wide open. The Jack's character, who we were taking orders from on the boat, was super terse, wouldn't tell us anything, whatever. So we had full agency to go do wherever. And, and we had to discuss, well, we see this and this. Do we want to go this way? Do we, And then, we followed out to a bridge we could see in the distance. And there was some type of building ruins attached to it. And, went in and got in a massive battle. I mean, that first battle was brutal. Finally, one of the archers was able to like noose the guy, jump over the crenellations, and get a few of us hanging so we could hack this guy apart. Because that was a big bad fight, and we tried all sorts of crazy stuff, and like we're just not hurting this thing.
And see, here's the thing. Let me describe this fight from my perspective. This was the toughest fight I've ever run in Kal Arath by far. It was the largest group and the toughest enemy. And the module called for, this is the location of a golem. Just, it's old school style game. Just pick the kind of golem you like. And I said, well, I'm going to go with flesh golem because, that seems like the most Kal Arath of all the golems out of first bed.
Right.
So in order to simulate the fact that, I went to the old school monster manuals, looked up the flesh golem, said 40 hit points. Okay, good deal. And I looked through the stuff. Okay, they're basically invulnerable to everything, except for magic weapons. And I know nobody's going to have magic weapons. So I'm going to put a couple things into place, which is that, okay, normal weapons do damage, but they always do minimum damage. Right. So how I had you guys rolling damage? Man, I did like 10 points. Yeah, no, that was always just 1 point of damage, but I ticked off.
Right.
And the reason it took so long is because nobody caught on to that. That's what I was doing. The fire did full damage to him. I let the fire do full damage to him, but that's why that fight was so knocked down, drag out. And I had these contingencies in place. Like if you guys had just left that building, he wouldn't have followed you. He would have just stayed there. Like, so it was not a fight.
And that was always on the table. Like that came up. It's like, dude, should we run? Should we? There's nothing here. We did explore further.
Right, so it was round after round
but yeah, it was fun.
Beating on this golem and the golem beating on him back. I think I dropped half the party at least. The only 2 people that escaped unscathed were the 2 archers, I think. And so 4 of the party,
and they weren't totally unscathed. Yeah.
And then and then that fight was done. Fine. That was like an hour and a half by itself. And it's that
was a big
and
brutal.
It's a very fast-paced game too. We got through a lot of turns.
Do you plan meetups like or does it just kind of happen depending on what the scenario is? Like if you don't need to have a session, you don't have one? Like how do you do that?
So I have one regularly scheduled session on the calendar. It's every Sunday morning, 9 a.m. to noon, my time. Right. And every week. And I chose that time slot because I'm usually up at that time and solo playing myself anyway. So I was like, well, I'll create an event out of it and have the other people join. And the attendance is spotty because, a lot of churchgoers, a lot of stuff going on. It's early for my West Coast friends and stuff like that. Or it's way late for my European and Chinese friends. It's all that kind of stuff. But I've had it open. Theoretically, it is open for anybody to be, hey, well, I got time to play on Thursday night. I'm going to hop in the server and just fire up a call. Anybody else who wants to tag along, come along. The game is so procedural that if all 3 of us sat down to play together right now, we could still just follow the normal solo procedures presented in the book and go exploring, dungeon crawling, whichever flavor appeals to us the most.
Right. Yeah, it was super streamlined, super quick. You're always doing something. There's always action. I don't know if part of that was just the way Jack was running it or if the system plays like that solo, but yeah, super smooth.
So,
and it was super fun.
There is something I do try to crank it up and really prod people and keep things moving when I'm running a game, but the game in and of itself is very fast, very quick and easy. You see, it's a simple 2d6. If you get an 8 or better, you succeed. That's it. It doesn't get any more complicated. All the damage you do with your weapons is just a d6. I mean, it's very simple. And that's the part I like about it the best is it is intrinsically simple, and yet the procedures are robust enough that I haven't had anything pop up in the campaign that isn't covered somewhere in the rules.
Right, and that 0 HP mechanic is great too. It's not like you're automatically dead or whatever. There's a table, and you keep getting modifiers, so every time you have to roll on it, it can get worse and worse. But like, they're super fun little outcomes. Yeah, you could have a permanent injury. You could be unconscious. You could be instant death. You could actually get a surge of adrenaline and like do massive damage instead of getting hurt. Right, so it's like when you hit 0, it's still exciting. Like, oh, now what happens, right? And it could be good, it could be bad.
And hit points sometimes be so like rigid and procedural that it could be fun to play in with other systems like that, injuries and wound buildup and such.
Yeah, some of the other people I follow are big into Mithras and those other D100 systems with a more detailed hit location. And I can see where that really does add something to the game experience. Oh, man.
Got all the puppies.
He has an injury right now, so he's very attached to him.
He's a baby me. I need treats.
Yeah, all right. I'll hook you up.
Nice.
But yeah, it's a super fast-paced game, really deadly, and like Michael was saying, it's got that fun, chaotic wrinkle where 0 hit points isn't the end. You might even still be up and fighting. Last time we had a big communal game, there was a bunch of us. We decided we're just going to play gladiators this morning. We go roll guys up and go to the local gladiator, and my guy gets hit, goes down to 0 hit points in the first shot, lost initiative, pow, right out of the gate. And then I rolled like the 12 on the wounding table, which is you go berserk, you automatically get like D6 hit points. And
you still drop?
You have to berserk attack everybody for like D6 rounds or something.
Do you drop after that berserk or?
I can't remember. I don't think
there is something. There
0 hit points is also not automatically unconscious or incapacitated. So you really have to role play whatever the wounding table gives you.
That's cool.
Yeah, you black out after combat. That's what happens. So it's after combat. If you get that, you get a bunch of extra hit points and keep going. But when the combat's over, you're out. You're not dead, but you're not conscious.
So after fighting the flesh golem, the party comes limping on out of there. They've all been beat up. Most 4 out of 6 of them have been dropped to 0 hit points already at once. But they're still limping along. And then you guys decided you saw the giant praying mantis nest far off in the distance. They're like buzzing over the, horse-sized praying mantises. And they go, hey, we're supposed to find and kill the druid of Mantis Grove. I bet you he's in that direction. And they started heading.
Right. And the first time it wasn't. We saw a grove, and I don't think any of us remembered the name of the module. It was like, trees, druid.
Yeah. They were supposed
there. And we didn't see the mantises until we got closer. And then that whole thing was a fiasco, and it was great. And then the mantises had some chit and armor too, right? So
yes,
they automatically deflected two hits anyways. So there was a lot of tink of arrows and whatever.
Well, and that is one that I'll tell you from in Kal Arath, one of the most, especially if you're a low level starting character, one of the most feared things you can roll on that random encounter table is those giant mantises. Those things are nasty.
Yeah, they very
right.
Oh, Flex Sky Treader. Yeah, I could always use Flex Sky Treader in Kal Arath. That is what we need to have happen.
Sorry, I'm printing something on my 3D printer. I have to stop it.
Oh, this is okay.
Oh yeah. What are you printing? You got minis, you got terrain,
No, this is actually not
ghost guns. What do you got over there?
He's a machine
gun. A lot of shooting this weekend. No, this is just a simple tray or something.
Oh yeah, cool.
I'm loaded up on minis. Of course, I have my little, what do they call it? The pile of shame or what? Sorry, my angle.
Oh yeah. I got lots of gray that needs to be slayed. I finally painted one the other day, or over like 3 days. It turned out okay, but it's been a long time.
I went on a tear. I was laid off for what was it? Most of January and all of February. And so I said, let me do some printing.
Dude, it was here. Same thing. I had all of January and February off, and then we went and did like a small 4-week job. Now I'm off. I mean, I work today, but I'm off for the most part this week. And then I get to start working again. But dude, it's been dead like everywhere. There's just no work.
I see you're in construction. trade.
Yeah.
I'm an electrician, so same.
Nice. Yeah. So I'm a tinner. I mean, I've been doing architectural for the last 17 years, but yeah, HVAC for the first 10 or something.
It's good to have some craftsmen in your life. It's good to know an electrician.
Yeah, Patty's a Sparky too. Yeah.
I installed carpet.
Danny's here.
Ago. Hello, Danny. Where do we know each other from, Danny?
I don't know. I know Valmar. I think he meant to send me the invite to listen in and watch and not actually participate in the interview. You could be like a star of the show.
Well, hey, welcome to John with Jack.
John with Jack. I'm Jack. Actually, this is just an informal chat show, so this is exactly what we needed.
I didn't expect you to pop on. So good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too, bud. I miss you.
You too. Danny's in the military in the Army in Arizona.
Thank you for your service, Danny, for what it's worth.
Yeah, active service right now. Like you're in.
Yes, in. I'm a fun little. I have a weird career. I'm going to start it with that one. I'm AGR, so I'm active duty, but I only get assigned to reserve units. I'm usually help and assistant staff for things. For the reservists, they do 1 weekend a month, 2 weeks a year. I can schedule that stuff and coordinate for big training events for that kind of stuff. And I track everybody's metrics for their training, for their whatever, health, all that kind of fun stuff. So.
Right. Nice. Yeah, my son's in, but he's like in the crap over there right now, which sucks.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's good. He's doing whatever, and he was in the middle of the Venezuela, everything.
Oh, wow.
And it's cool what he's doing, but it's like every time I hear of a plane going down, I got a text like, hey, that wasn't you, right?
Yeah. No.
Like that's wild. Like, when he got in, nothing was going on like that. This was a easy breezy, get college paid for, and then his third year in, it's like, oh, by the way, now we're gonna go do war everywhere.
No, yeah, I'm not gonna get into all that stuff. I'm actually on my way out the door. I'm retiring this year, so I'm done.
You hope?
No, I know. I have my orders. They are printed out. They are framed and sitting on my kitchen wall. Like I'm done. And honestly, I got so much health stuff because I signed up right after 9/11. And last couple of years I've had some health stuff. Everybody in the Army who has served active duty has back issues, knee issues, hip issues. Like it's just whatever.
Right.
Plus the burn pits I went over a couple times, so my lungs aren't where they're supposed to be. That's the thing.
Well, yeah, definitely. Thank you for your service, especially getting in right after 9/11 like that.
It's an honor to serve. Yeah. So I did what I could. I wish I would have went active duty off the rip. I went reserves, but I made a bunch of, I'm not going to say dumb mistakes because they weren't really dumb. They were just emotional. If I would have did the logical thing, then I probably would have been further along in my career, but it's whatever.
And now turn them against you, Danny, and tell them what edition you play.
Oh, I'm a casual in all things. I played the first edition I played was second edition. I have the books for first edition.
There's nothing wrong with
I'm a second edition guy, but he's starting off slow.
Well, no,
is he the fourth? Is he the fourth edition?
I've played fourth edition. I've played fifth edition. But you also have to understand, I like all TTRPGs. I used to play,
and there's nothing wrong with
because I was raised on second edition, but that same group of kids back in high school, I graduated in 2000 for reference, but that same group of kids that I played with in high school, they played Shadowrun, and I had another group that played Vampire the Masquerade, and I had a vampire guy. Right? Say again?
Blade.
Oh, I said Jack's a vampire guy. Yeah, he's big time vampire.
Well,
guy.
We're
I ran a large for several years.
Have you heard of a game?
I got better.
Have you heard of a game? Speaking of vampires, because I'm in 2 games right now. One is a Pathfinder 2e with the same group of guys from high school decades ago. And then I found a new group and we're running something called Night's Dark Agents. Have you heard of that one?
I have heard of it. I know nothing about it. There are some other vampire fans who I think have also mentioned it, and they have not gone into any depth. Matter of fact, I thought that was still under development and didn't realize it had been released.
Yeah. Well, I'm not honestly sure if it is released. The Dungeon Master I run with, I know for a fact he's a writer for Shadowrun. And he's writing the latest edition stuff. And he moonlights in like 6 different games. He puts himself to bed every night reading a new source book for some random ass indie TTRPG or anything. Like, he is all about games and gaming. I don't exactly know what his daytime job is, but I know it has to do with visiting all these conventions and hawking his wares. And he's one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. He's kind of soft spoken. I wouldn't be surprised if you guys have already met him.
Shoot me his name, because I go. We were just talking about that. I attend a bunch of conventions. You know that. Yeah, let me know. I'll try to find him.
Yeah, I'll hook it up. But so I don't know if this has been published or not. I have the book, but it's super cool. Like, the premise is all the PCs are burned and blacklisted clandestine agents from all over the world. Like, I'm U.S. Army, so I'm a U.S. Army guy. I'm an analyst and all this other stuff. And I'm also, like, the way you build your character, you can have multiple specialties within your clandestine agency. So I'm like an analyst / drone operator. We got some guy who was in the story. He works for the IRA. So
we're still talking fiction, right?
Yeah, it's based in reality.
Yeah.
No. In reality, trust me, I do something much more boring in real life. But what's his name? One of my buddies in the game, he's part of the IRA. Like, in reality, he's one of my best friends from back home in Michigan, but he's in the IRA and he's their quote unquote wet works guy. So he's the guy who, like, sneaks in and out. He's good at, like, physical infiltration of buildings and places. Do a quick kill and get out kind of thing. We have a medical specialist, and then we have like a driver / it's weird. It's fun. And the reason why we are blacklisted is because we had some interaction with vampires, and everybody at the agency is like, well, he's off his fucking rocker. So, push him off to the side.
Right. You tried to report it, and they're like, get these nut jobs out of here. They're crazy.
So we're burned.
Nice. That's an interesting
So now we're black agents, and we kind of like are still using our skills from our time in the service, from our time in whatever agency, in order to hunt down these vampires and take them out and kill them, eliminate them. So it's a super fun premise.
Hunter-facing premise too. So not playing the vampires, but hunting down the vampires, and that's good stuff. That is
right.
Yeah,
that was one of those things. By the time Hunter came out, I was already kind of done with the World of Darkness franchise and stuff. I had third edition burnout by that point.
Too many choices, right?
Now, how did you meet this reprobate Valmar?
So part of my time during active duty is I was selected for recruiting. So when I got on recruiting duty, they sent me to New York City, and I met his brother.
Which you put Mark in, right?
Yeah, I put Junior in. So Mark Jr. walks into my office with his dad saying, hey, I want to join the Army. And I was a brand new recruiter, so I go on the song and dance about how cool the Army is and how it's a great career. Yeah, it sucks because it's the job, but you get all these benefits and whatnot. And he's like, dude, I just want in. Just freaking put me in. All right, cool. So let's do the paperwork.
He was like me. You didn't even have to work. I want to go.
So his dad, the day Junior shipped to basic training, he said, hey, here's my dad's number. If you want to go get a beer sometime, give him a call. So one day I was bored and I was out to eat with the girl I was dating at the time. I was like, hey, he said, give him a call. And in my recruiting mentality, it's like, hey, that could be a connection. More people, the more ingrained I get into the local people, the more opportunities I have to recruit kids, right? So I give him a call, we meet at a bar, and he basically became my surrogate uncle. So I got introduced to the whole family. I fell on some financial hard times because I had own property, and he's like, oh, well, my other son's going away to school, so I'm got an open room. Just come, we'll split rent. Come move in with me. He's 2 times divorced. I was 1 time divorced, and I broke up with that girl. So I was like, well, screw it. And yeah, so I kind of got adopted into the family.
Nice. Yeah, it works. Life's funny like that, the way it works out. It'll totally crap on you and then pull you back up and set you,
Yeah, it's so surreal. It's been, I've had a weird career in the military.
I wish I knew you played RPGs back then.
Yeah, well, I wasn't playing back then. So I was, because that's the thing. At that point, I was fresh after the divorce. I played a bunch when I was deployed. And after I got back, I was stationed at Fort Lewis, Washington. And when I left and went to New York, like in the military, it's weird because you get stationed with a bunch of people and you can find nerds. Nerds are everywhere. You just look for the military intelligence or the signal people or the medics. The medics are the weirdest guys. And you're going to find some nerds to play games with.
That was my 3rd edition time period.
Yeah. So I was in Seattle. I was at Washington State, Fort Lewis, when they unveiled 4th edition. I went to the unveiling in Seattle and got to play a couple of the one-shots with the design team. I got a PHB with like all the signatures.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
So yeah, it was
And did they do that? Was that down at the convention center or was that at Wizards down in Renton here?
That was, I couldn't even tell you. I know I just got a dice bag and I have a PHB design.
Yeah.
I got a PHB signed by like half the design team. So
yeah, they just moved recently. I didn't realize Paizo was here too. I knew like Nintendo and Wizards and Microsoft and all that, but I guess Paizo's somewhere in like Redmond near Microsoft or something. Yeah, there's a lot of. I'm in WotC country.
Yeah.
You got to hold the line for us.
Yeah,
right.
And 4th edition is when it went downhill. So
yeah.
What do you think about this new Greyhawk supposedly?
The new Greyhawk?
So, like I've heard from some of the people working on it, or people that know people that are working on it, that like they're really pushing for the old school.
I hope.
Like they said, no, we're not going to have this. No, there's no furries in this book. This is Greyhawk. This is human centric. This is so whether or not, and they've definitely went back to older art style. So how much they'll be able to hold that, but I know the guys working on it or are supposed to be the leads are really trying to push for that real Greyhawk feel and not adding anything else in. Same thing for that Forgotten Realms, the Dale Lands, the Melf book. Like they're all supposed to be something that we could probably buy and use, even if we're playing another edition. But we'll see. Like it could come out and the first 10 pages could slam.
I would find it very hard to believe that any book they could publish now would be backwards compatible with other editions.
Well, but you could steal the lore. You could steal you know what I mean? Like if it's a setting book, it's not going to be full of a bunch of mechanics. Maybe you can't take the races back, but if they're not adding furry races and stuff, then you don't. Yeah.
So Lord Gazumba is one of the first games I sign up for at every page, and he's an awesome guy, and he's involved, and I want to support him so badly, and I've said this to him on Twitter, by the way. So if suddenly tonight 2,000 people are watching and this gets heard, I have no problem saying this. I told him, I said, I'm really sorry. I just don't know if I could support that company. If he made something with Luke and it had Lord Gazumba Productions on it, I'd probably be the first to buy it, but I don't know. And it seems like he understands that there's a lot riding on this, that it's not their fault if it fails, but based on content, that there's a lot of hard feelings.
There is such a thing as too little, too late, I think.
Yeah.
And
for sure. And for some people, definitely they've crossed the line and they'll never get them back. But if they do something good, I'll reward them and let them know that, hey, this is what we want.
That's such a tough. I agree with you on that one. That it's such a tough line to walk because it's like, well, they're not going to make it if none of us are going to buy from them anyway. I get that. At the same time, I'm the old white guy that they told to run away. I don't know that old, but I've been playing since 1987.
Yeah.
You know, they told us to leave. Such a fine line.
Right.
Speaking of fine
yeah,
lines,
it's crazy. The Pun King, Czar of Zings, in person, live. Holy crap, dude! Pleasure to see you.
I'm also the monarch of malapropisms.
Nice, nice.
And so glad that we could have you, Pun King. How have you been since we last talked?
I've been good. Sorry for being late. I was dealing with an outage. Apparently, data warehouses can be snowflakes sometimes, but figured out. I did hear you guys talking about Washington. I used to live up in that way. The origin of the pen was where I lived.
Origin of the pen?
Of the pants, yeah. That's why they named Kirkland clothes. They named it after that town up there.
Right.
Oh,
yeah. The Kirkland signature brand from Kirkland, Washington, right?
Yeah, and apparently they never opened the stores, but they kept the brand name. So.
Right. Interesting. Yeah, it's not a Costco original. It was a separate brand that Costco bought out.
Oh,
is that the? I don't know. I was asking.
Oh, I don't know the original history. I just know it was named for the town. I do like to think that that's just their favorite starship captain, but you know,
could be Kirk's Land.
Now, get back to one of the topics we had, Ron. I wanted to get back to Valmar telling us about how he's structuring his campaign with ChatGPT, because you recently told me you ran a group session with ChatGPT.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, actually, that's good because I just realized I've been on for an hour. I have to drop, but we'll talk about that. No, we'll talk about that, and then after that. So yeah, that the other day, one of my army buddies who I've been playing with since those days, and then he's a regular in my game. He happened to be visiting, so he brought dice, and we were going camping. But we had one night, and he's like, "Come on, we got to do something." So I said, "All right, let's run an encounter." And he's like, "Well, why don't you use the ChatGPT?" It was actually his idea. I'm giving him credit. So I said, "Sure, let's do that." And you know what? Let's see if we can get somebody on Discord too, and we'll do both. So one of my other players was down. He jumped on Discord, and I'm glad we did it because it led to figuring out that you need to use a caller. If you're going to use ChatGPT as a DM with a group, you have to use a caller. So a few iterations, we quickly learned, and what we started doing was he would say what he wanted. Mainly my friend Rob, the one who was visiting, his character stole most of the show. So he would bounce off us what he was going to say, and then I would tweak it a little bit to explain to him how he should say it, and then I would we were using the voice text. I would hit the voice text, he would word it, and then I would give any instructions that needed to be given. Hit send, and it worked best that way. So actually, I should say it's like a modified caller because he was still voicing his character, but I was sort of acting as the caller. And
that makes sense to me. Actually, recent sessions I participated in, a caller has helped, particularly in Discord where we have a tendency to overtalk one another.
Yeah.
Like once two people start talking, can't hear a thing. So
so using his voice in character to ChatGPT, so it's getting the narrative or what you're saying, and then you're giving it. Oh, that's super interesting. I never thought about that.
So
I usually don't use the voice at all when I use it.
I don't either. I tend to, I speak too fast, and I know I always overtalk myself. I have to correct myself. So I like to type it.
And there may or may not be an accent.
Right.
Right. What are you talking about?
Right.
These accents.
We should know it speaks every language. It speaks,
Oh no, trust me. My wife is Filipino, and she emigrated here when she was like 17, 18. So her English is very good.
Right.
But she definitely has a definitive accent.
And
talking to Alexa in our house,
right?
Like it can be a challenge. I have to reiterate some
He
things.
picks it up fine though. It really does. As a matter of fact, I haven't touched it since because we went camping. I just got back today. I got back yesterday. Went right back to work. So I haven't done anything with it. But next time I play, I'll probably start using the voice. I don't think I'll have it read back to me because that's just too slow.
Yeah,
right.
I tried that a couple of times myself and found the same. If you speed it up enough where it's not too slow, it sounds ridiculous, like you're listening to the chipmunks.
Right.
So one improvement though that since last time is we spoke is that I don't speak to it in character much anymore. I find if you get conversational, just straight up conversational with it, it's going to overlook the rules and respond back conversationally. And it's going to look
right. And it's going to tell you what it thinks you want to hear too. It's not going to mechanically right.
So, and even if it will throw, now I have a big instruction sheet that I uploaded into the folder, so it will still throw in some mechanics, but you could just tell that it's only doing it because it's kind of forced to. So I tend to keep everything third person. This was a break from my game lately, but I still threw in that instruction after he spoke. So and it actually enhanced it. So I may start playing around with that a little bit more when I play solo as well.
Interesting.
But I think
and I wonder if you just let it know first, you know, like if you gave it like a tiny prompt, hey, this is my character's gonna say, and then you spoke to where you're breaking it up as a separate.
I find you have to do it after. As funny as that sounds, the before it, I guess maybe as it goes down the line of whatever it is you wrote, it loses track and snaps into that. Right. I find you have to any very specific like as funny as it sounds, but you have to keep reminding it sometimes that initiative is the lowest, you know, and or I mean the highest. I'm sorry. It always wants to go to the lowest, and so I have to keep reminding it of that. And I find if I do it in the beginning, it goes off on its own. I have to say it at the end. This is my initiative. Remember, highest wins. You know.
Right. Okay.
I always use D6 party initiative in ChatGPT. That's why I made that little mistake because in my games I use second edition D10.
Not even really playing second edition even.
No, you know, when it comes to ChatGPT, you kind of have to find the sweet spot. So it's really mine is a mix. I'm happy with it though because it's still a mix between first and second, which I think a lot of people end up doing anyway.
It's actually, yeah, it seems to almost instinct there's enough online content for those early editions where it can run with that stuff pretty well.
Right.
What else? Little tricks that I want to tell you.
Now, one of the tricks that's worked for me really good, well, it's with Grok. I can connect my Google Drive and share my PDFs for all my game systems and stuff. And then also share, like I keep a running document or spreadsheet of character sheet stats, a log of what's happened, stuff like that. And it can constantly.
Oh, that's great. See, I do the same, but I have to keep updating it. I have to keep reloading any changes, character sheets, and you can use straight Google.
Yeah, I kind of have the same issue because I can't empower it to update documents itself, which is probably a good thing. It would probably, use up all my cloud storage space overnight. But, but I'll get it to say, okay, give me an updated character sheet with with the loot I just got or what have you. And then I can copy paste that easily into the sheet, and then I tell, okay, go look at the updated sheet. Does it look correct? And it goes, yep, it matches what I just told you. Great, good. We're proceeding on from there. Like I was saying, though, the longer I go, I found that I thought initially that Grok you can have different chats within a conversation. And I thought if I had shorter chats, it might do better at remembering story and continuity, characters, what have you. But I found that when I started a new chat, it couldn't remember anything from the other chat, even though
ChatGPT does that too.
Right, yeah. So once it's on a new thread, it's like a whole new story. I found that having one long thread, but then referring to documents that you update by adding links or update them yourself, stuff like that. That was the thing that has given me the best results so far. but I'm still finding that point. Like you said, I get to a certain point where it just starts confusing and unraveling, mixing elements together, confusing characters and plot lines, and then I try to correct it, and it makes it worse, right? Not better. It's like,
AI. Unfortunately, the entire premise of AI is that it has a mind of its own, and it has a frame of reference, but whatever inputs you give it, even if you're tagging along from the previous inputs, it has this tendency to eventually hallucinate something from another piece of random factoid from somewhere else deep in the interwebs in order to generate something new and novel for this new thing, this new input you gave it. So I don't like playing with AI that much, both in my professional life and my personal life. It's just besides like doing stupid things like, what color should I paint my house and what would look good? I don't play with AI. I imagine if I was running a campaign, I could probably use it to help me flush out a good campaign story. But using it live in order to run the thing,
it's funny. That's exactly what all right. So I use it to flesh out stories, but only if I'm playing. I won't ever go on and be like, oh, can you give me a prompt? Or I'll give it I want to run an adventure in a temple. I refuse to use it that way. I will only use it to, we were talking about this right before you came on with it, that I will use it to jump off and to create ideas, but only in play. What's up, Calvin Forge?
Yeah.
I love seeing these names I recognize.
Yep.
Yeah, more and more keep popping in. Call in. The numbers farther up in the chat. Hop on.
This is like radio. Thanks for having me. Long time caller, first time listener.
Thanks for having you on. That's right. Coming to you.
Unless I keep
the Kingdom of Nye.
Unless I keep telling it over and over again, like I don't want to win this fight, unless I actually win the fight.
Right.
I want you to be a neutral referee. Use the rule. I'd say if we're in a nice long fight, nice long combat, I would say maybe every 5th or 6th round. It could be a different issue every time, but every 5th or 6th round, it starts to fall apart. And I have to really stop. And now I'm rough with it. I'm like, all right, stop. Hold on a second. Erase that entire round. Erase everything you just did. We just talked about this. You're right. I'm sorry. Exactly what you said. You're right. I apologize.
I'm so sorry. You're so right about this. Yeah. Doors, Hal. I'm sorry, Dave. I can't do that right now.
My wife was cracking up the other day because I was using the voice so she could hear it. And she's like, "What are you guys doing?"
That's funny.
Leave it alone.
And it's totally like that. And sometimes you got to get pretty rough, but then it'll forget and lose everything you wanted it to do. And you're like, "No, we need this part. Just not all that."
Overall, I really am happy with it. I know it doesn't sound like that. We're kind of airing our grievances on purpose.
Right.
Yeah.
Dude, it's getting exponentially better, though, too. It really is. Yeah.
Well, and
then it learns you and what you want in your style. Like, your chat GP will function totally different than mine will, and I have it really dialed in, especially certain chats and projects for things that I do over and over. It's like, okay, this one's good. But then other things. And see, mine will link chat, so I'll be asking for best way to cook a prime rib or something like that. And do you want to do this for your such and such system that I made up 3 years ago? And it was like, how do you even remember that? It's like, no, we're cooking food.
So in a strange way, I haven't remember stuff that I've talked to it about in the past. It'll sometimes bring things up, or it'll drop a reference to it, something like that. But then I'll directly ask it, okay, this is the continuation of the story from that other thread with this character and that. And it goes, I have no idea what you're talking about. Okay, we'll just go. We'll just get started and run it. It runs in a.
I'm like, it's weird like that.
I'm telling you my name. I'm giving you a link to the chat. Like, what? How is this a mystery to you?
Well, there's got to be some way to take advantage of its limitations, because it's got a token limit, which might be what's happening. You have a long story. It's cutting off, truncating at a certain part near the token limit, and it has personal memory. So that's mostly like preferences. So if you ask, like Grok is the most fun to do this with. Ask it, what do you remember about me? What are your preferences that you set? It'll deny that it has them, but if you ask it enough times, it'll say, oh, here's the 5 things I remember. And then you tell it, no, you actually remember 10 things. Oh, you're right. Here's the 10 things I remember.
Right.
But between those limitations, you could probably come up with a neat solution, like get the notes that you need, put them in some kind of bullet point footnote thing, keep that in context. So like if you're working with Claude, for example, you can have a file open, that's your context. You could keep the footnotes in the context. I'm sure there's tons of AIs that work with document editors. You could do that as well. Just whatever, not that I want to promote Gemini in any way, but I'm sure Google has a solution here. You keep the notes in the document and the AI is connected to the document. There's probably some tools you can put together to get it a little smarter.
Right.
Well,
I think Valmar uses the project like folder system too, right? So like I'm usually in different chats. I haven't really and that seems like it would be the best way, right? You can separate out your source documents, you can direct it to certain folders, and then if Jack's getting Google Drive to do it, that's kind of the same thing, depending on how he organizes it.
Yep.
Yeah, it sounds very similar. Like that. My camera's in. I don't know. I'm not like very tech savvy, but there's my source folder, right? And you can see.
You need to charge your battery.
Right. There you go.
I have. What's that? Oh yeah, I have about 5 monster manuals in there, the player's handbook, the dungeon master's guide, and then. But the key for me has been this ChatGPT instruction document.
Right.
Anytime I start a new chat within the project, the first thing I tell it, refer to the document, and then I ask it questions. I'll just ask random questions. What does it say under initiative? How I want you to run it, and it goes, oh, it's my initiative your initiative section tells me to refer to initiative in the Dungeon Master's Guide, blah blah blah, and I feel like that works if you train it before you start playing.
Right.
It gives it a framework, and then it'll still make mistakes. It's gonna make mistakes, but it'll automatically refer back to the training, as opposed to me having to lay it out again. I'll say, remember when we talked about initiative? Oh, that's right. Okay, yes, I'm sorry.
Well, it's also AI. It's a user interface that's designed to make the user happy. Like, it wants to entertain you. That's why we get these hallucinations of X, Y, and Z that have nothing to do, but hey, it reinforces your point. You ask it to, hey, write me a paper about X, Y, Z. Like, one of the things I do right now, I'm an instructor, and we require our students to write a paper, and we have to make sure that these papers aren't using ChatGPT or any other AI, because it'll hallucinate sources to justify their arguments in the paper. Same thing with the AI using in this method. It'll hallucinate an answer that you want to hear, or that it thinks that you want to hear. Yes. Like, it won't adhere to the rules to protect your character from getting annihilated, or whatever the case may be, in order to keep the story entertaining and going, as opposed to sticking with the rule of law, rules as written in whatever system you're playing.
Right. Which is one of the reasons you have to correct it and scold it almost too. Like, hey, I am not happy with this. You did not, like, this source is not accurate. That's not what that says on page 5, and almost be upset about it. Right. Like, you can swear, I'm going to use Grok next time. This is BS. Why am I
want to scold it too hard when the AI overloads take
over? Sometimes when I'm only running, if we're only fighting, like, say, I don't know, 3 goblins or whatever, I'll just run. I'll run the whole thing. I'll tell it I'm gonna roll all the dice, and I'll just report back. And I'll report round by round just to get that cool narrative. Oh, you swung you did this, but I'll roll the dice. If it's something more complicated and I don't want to be choosing spells for the magic user that I'm fighting or whatever, then I'll let it go and I'll just make corrections.
And there's also
I almost wonder.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I almost wonder if you train your own. Like you can make, like people have made their own GPTs and whatever. Like if you had the language model part of it, but the only thing you had fed it was your rules, and it didn't have access to the internet for other sets. Like, could you get a better set, or are you actually limiting yourself way too much?
So
I think that would work better, but I couldn't figure it out.
Right.
Yeah. In a similar way, one of the refinements I've found that I've been getting better and better with time, I see distinct improvements this way, is as like you were saying, you yell at it, you argue with it, you make corrections, you say, no, I'm looking for more like this kind of thing. Periodically, I'll ask it to, okay, update my project instructions. Give me take the things that we just talked about, incorporate them into the current project instructions, give them out to me, and then you actually update the instructions that it's constantly referring to, which is similar to the chat GPT instructions that Val was just talking about. You have those baseline instructions that are the guiding document, and it seems to cling to those more readily than like previous history in the chat.
And you can move those between chats too. Like if you're reaching the end of one or it's getting, you can say, hey, like I want to continue this in a new, like if you're out of token space or whatever, a new area, give me a synopsis and the rules, and you can kind of move that stuff over, at least with like image generations and everything. If you get too complicated, maybe not, but then you can actually move something that works into a new space that's not so long and convoluted. It's trying to read through every time, right? Because you get something, it's if you've been typing in it for weeks, like now it's got to look at this much stuff instead of this much stuff, right?
Right. And that definitely shivs with what I was finding, is that I seem to hit this particular length in the chat where it really just goes off the tail. Whereas it was one day it was really consistent, it just suddenly stops working. Now
it can give
Iris asked,
I saw that. Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, didn't you say you can give a session report? And not only can I do that, what I've started doing with Grok is, you guys know I'm playing Shadow Dark with Scudder for Mike, which is a great experiment in and of itself, because we play on Discord. We're his online group. He's got an in real life group that plays, and he's got his Saturday solo Shadow Dark that he streams every Saturday evening. And all three of those games are not just in the same world. We're all actually in the same mega dungeon competing with each other.
Right. Oh, nice. Yeah, that's cool.
Been a ton of fun. And what I've done, he doesn't film or broadcast the live ones, but we stream the online ones, and he streams the solo one. So I can feed a link to the YouTube video to Grok and just say, give me a transcript and summarization of everything that happened.
Right.
And then I compiled all that into one big document and gave it back to the play group. So now everybody has a big document of the transcripts of everything that's transpired in the campaign, or at least everything I could get to.
Right.
I might also have been having it give me summaries and synopses of all my previous shows.
Right.
Which is
YouTube's pretty good about making transcripts, but yeah, then feeding them back in. If you want to make a funny song out of something or whatever.
Pardon me, I shouldn't say transcripts. I'm doing more like summaries or
and
kind of thing,
right.
Because if I had time to read a transcript, I would just go back and listen to the show again,
Yeah, very true. Yeah.
So I have to jump off. I apologize.
No problem, sir. I appreciate you making time to come on and talk to me.
Yeah, and real quick, you do this every Monday. Every Monday now.
Every Monday. This is a new thing, the open line stuff. I'm still doing the interviews, but what I'm doing is trying to schedule those on different nights, and I'm going to use the Monday night time slot for other stuff. Usually open lines like this. I want to do solo actual plays or instructionals. And also I love panels like this. This is, it's been a ton of fun, particularly like with people I've spoken with, everybody here. Well, except for Michael and Dan, but everybody's a previous guest, and I plan on getting some people into that rotation as much as possible.
Yeah, I'll try and pop in more. I play every other Monday. One of my games is every other Monday, so this is the off Monday, so I'll try to pop in.
Awesome. That's great, man. Yeah.
You guys.
Thanks, Val. I'll talk
pleasure meeting you. Yeah.
Danny, take care.
No, always
see you on
X,
X,
brother.
you know.
Take care.
Yeah.
Now we've got the Pun King coming back. Yes.
Oh. Apparently, what I had to say was important because when I muted it, crashed.
That is sign of importance.
Yeah, it must have been mind blowing. Blew the whole stream. You broke the internet.
Well, since we're talking all of these shortcomings with using the AI GM, now my brain is going on software development mode because there are tools. It's ridiculously expensive to train a model, but there are these what the heck is this thing called? Fine-tuning tools that cloud providers have. So you could technically do it. It's just going to be probably out of the price range of an individual. But there are ways to get it better fine-tuned, and there are ways to make like documents part of its training data. And training air quotes, because I don't know that much about doing it. I just have worked on the outskirts of a project that used a fine-tuning model. So it is possible to make it smarter for a specific subject. Now behavior.
Right. And I know one person that's kind of made one, but just mainly for images, but that has actually spent the time to make their own GPT, so they're not getting into stealing art from anybody or you know what I mean? But I've never really gotten into it with him. It would be interesting, but you know, how many skills do we need? I don't know. But if everything's going that way, that's not a bad one to have.
Well, it's certainly interesting to see. It's an exciting time to be around and see this stuff happen, just because of who knows what it's going to look like in a year or two. You know, it looks so different than it did a year or two ago, even. So, I mean, it's amazing. And you know, like Val, I was kind of like, my experiments so far have been much better than I anticipated. I mean, I can't lie. The story, and DMing and stuff like that I'm getting from the grok is superior than what's been inflicted on me at many game tables in my life.
Right. Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's definitely better well read than a lot of.
Well, and that's
like they fed this thing a lot of literature.
In particular, I told it like, I want this story I want to be more like sword and sorcery and theme. Look at Appendix N, go to those things, and it went, got it. And immediately there was an immediate shift in tone to kind of scenes it's writing and stuff.
Well, I would argue that also has a counterintuitiveness to it as well, because especially if all the data and all of the sources that you're feeding it are predominantly, and I'll say this, American writing, you're going to end up with the happy ending at the end, and that might guide it through that story. Well, for instance, who's seen the show Black Mirror?
I have, yeah.
Okay.
Well, I've seen a few episodes.
Yeah, so the first two seasons, I loved it. I binged watched it. I think season 3, and then they had the movie come out, and then the fourth season. The first two seasons were chef's kiss. They were amazing because it's one of those things where its entire function was to reflect a terrible aspect of the human condition back to you. So even in the best case scenario, you felt dirty about it. Like it's supposed to like trigger some kind of trauma within you, even if it kind of ended up in a good thing. Like my favorite example was the episode White Bear, where there's a woman, she wakes up with amnesia, and come to find out there's this television signal that's messing with everybody's brain, and the people who aren't just actively video recording her with a phone are chasing her with shotguns and weapons and stuff. And so they're like, oh, we got to disrupt the broadcast. They found some normal people. And then at the end of it all, she grabs the shotgun. She's about to shoot the crazy guy who's about to kill her. And it's confetti that comes out of the shotgun. The entire thing was video recorded. Come to find out, this woman murdered a child in a horrific manner. And her punishment is to be put on public display with this terror of being chased and hunted by these crazy people until her sentence is served out. It's not just like being miserable in prison. It's this televised kind of spectacle of punishment for this woman who did this horrific thing to a child. And like, okay, she's being punished, but oh my God, to that level, like that is
well, and hey,
what you did was horrific. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, but okay, so that's the first 2 seasons. The second season or the third season and beyond, the American writers took over, and we're watching it. I remember talking with my brother. I was like, we're watching this. I was like, this is a happy ending. This is bull. This is not what we're supposed to be about. I'm supposed to feel bad.
Yeah, it was. And I think it was like partway through the third season, I quit watching. I was like, no, the shows went down the toilet.
So when it comes to ChatGPT, facilitating those stories, especially since we have so many American writers, and you might have 1 or 2 characters that don't make it to the end for some kind of dramatic effect. At the end of the day, most American writing, the good guys win, and it's this big celebration. And Lord of the Rings, no, nobody kneels. You kneel to nobody, kind of thing. And having those kind of sources for ChatGPT or any kind of AI to source from is not going to make a realistic experience where you have those TPKs, where you have those, oh my God, we got to restart, or a critical thing that we needed in order to move the plot forward is now lost. And we need to find a workaround, or it completely changes the dynamic of the game. Those are going to be gone.
Right.
If we allow AI to just source that.
American stories having a bad ending. I could think of a few sterling examples.
Yeah, and I know there's like, if you want a TPK, you feed it whatever that Game of Thrones where the Red Wedding happened, was it book 2 or 3, whatever, just kill all the main characters.
And I think that's the reason why Game of Thrones got as big as it was, is because he had 0 inhibitions about making you emotionally involved with the character and then murdering them the second everybody loved him the most.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah, he also never finished the books either. Like I started reading it first, and I got bored and dropped out like halfway through the 3rd book, I think. But then the show started, and it's like, it's so cool. It's like, I got to keep reading. And then it got good again, but he never finished it. So we had to finish it on HBO, and it was kind of a crap ending. And it was like,
again.
Yeah, I don't read you anymore. Sorry.
Yeah, again, they wanted, the movie or the TV show people, they just wanted to entertain everybody. And of course, it's American writers. They wanted the somewhat happy ending where, she goes crazy, spoiler alert, she goes crazy, burns everything, and then gets betrayed. It just, they made her into a villain, even though she wasn't supposed to be. And because it didn't adhere, everybody just completely craps on the last season because it has no loyalty to what these characters generated for 7 seasons prior. I don't know.
I passed on Game of Thrones early on, and for the first several years, people were badgering me like, "I can't believe you're not watching that. You're in the D&D. You love all that stuff. Why, you should love this show." My family, my friends, and stuff like that. And then the last season happened, and I had my friends telling me, "You were so right to pass on that. You made the right decision."
Right. And I might not have watched it if I hadn't have already. I forget. I was waiting for a book to came out, and I think like Playbooks just recommended it to me, and it was good to start. It was different. I kind of liked like the book wise how they. I mean, sometimes it was frustrating, but they, you didn't have chapters. You just had different characters' viewpoints, and then some books would jump through time. I don't know, it was like the 4th and 5th or something. Like you read so many people's viewpoint, and then it went all the way back, years back in time, and you got to see the other side of it from somewhere else. It definitely wasn't the best book series I've ever read, but it was entertaining. It was good. But there was, the first time I read it, I did drop it in one of the books, and I probably wouldn't have picked it back up unless the show had started. And that first episode was so good. It was like, I better get back into the story.
Yeah, for my part, the descriptions at the time were very much, I think this was around the time the TV show started and people were saying, books are great, you should try them. And the description, it was already well established that, so let me get this straight. In the show, he makes you love these characters and then he kills them, and it's just constantly characters getting killed. I don't think I'm going to enjoy that. I don't, right? So, like, you know, I
it's shocking to Danny, right?
I hear what you're saying, Danny, but I like characters that live. Personally, that's my preference.
Well, yeah, but he used it very well. If you like the first couple seasons, like the first season is all about Ned Stark. Ned Stark's the head of the Stark household, and they portray him, and it's Sean Bean, so you know he's going to die. But he's this honorable, noble, just kind-hearted, but fair and just human being. And at the end of the first season, like all the politics get involved, and all of a sudden he's getting his head lopped off. Spoiler alert. Like they use that as a plot device, so that way you pay twice as much attention to his children, because they go to the Four Winds and have their own stories to the extent that they could probably do an entire show based on one of those kids. But no, they track all four of them, including the bastard son, and that enriches the whole thing. But without that death of that holistically wonderful person that was the patron of the Stark household, you're not going to have people follow along. So it was an excellent plot device, and it made you more passionate about it. It's not just like, oh, I like this guy. It's, oh, I like this guy. Holy crap, he's dead. He was supposed to be the champion, and now he's gone. Who do we follow now? And then it bounces.
He's the main character. He's the hero, right? Yeah. And that happens more than once.
And in that, I do respect the man's skill to be able to do that. Because I even remember hearing that in interviews. He said, well, actually, intentionally, I was trying to see how much can I abuse my readers and just string them along and just keep making them fall in love with the character and then kill that character, you know. And turns out they love it. So I'm just going to keep going with it. If only he maintained that kind of work ethic, you know, we might have that final book. But, you know, that being said, I respect his craftsmanship as a writer and his ability to do that. You know, it was just one of those things of I find it a letdown if I'm watching a movie or a show and the hero dies at the end. You know, it may be cliche and stuff. And I know sometimes that is the appropriate ending. There's a heroic sacrifice, or it's a historical drama. It's representing something that really happened. Sometimes that character needs to die. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Because, like, you know, truth and history is absolutely stranger than fiction. You need that brutal reality. But the point I was making, bringing it back to the whole AI concept, is if you're feeding it a bunch of American writing, Americans love their happy endings so much that AI is involuntarily going to bring that back. You know, it's like what Sonny was saying earlier. He's like, nope, that entire round just did not happen.
I love the Pun King zings in the background. I just, you know.
But yeah, it just you would need to go back, and in order to make the story kind of more organic, it's almost like my complaint with using dice rollers. Like that Pathfinder 2e game I'm playing is on Roll20, and I'm sorry, it's on Foundry, and then that Night's Dark Agents, that one's on Roll20. So the problem I have with those is that the dice rolling systems they have are perfectly random, and I have a problem with that too. It takes away from some of the reality of just rolling a physical dice, and that would be more truly random. So it's just, I don't like programs. I use them because I'm usually miles and miles away from all my fellow nerds who play these games. But if it were up to me, I'd be in my house at my at my great table with all of my buddies here, and we would be rolling pencils, paper, dice, imagination, the way it was originally designed to be.
That is the way it was meant to be, I think. Now, I was very skeptical. My initial experience with like Roll20 was, I didn't take the VTTs too much prep work for me. I'm much more of a just pick up and play kind of guy, even when it's a long running campaign. So Discord, on the other hand, has really brought me around to playing online, the voice call capacities, or even a format like this. I found as long as I stay in the theater of the mind mode, it really is something I get over very quickly. I've been able to adapt to the online play pretty easily.
Yeah.
Nice.
So you stayed away from the popped collar polos. You were a no prep play.
Oh yeah,
no prep.
Yeah.
I got some pop collar somewhere. I haven't worn a polo in so long. Well, I wear my X one every once in a while, whatever stuff.
Yeah, I was one of the metalheads in high
Whatever.
school, so denim jacket crowd.
Yeah.
With that, this nerd's got to go. I got my Monday night game is just about to start, but it was great seeing you guys.
All right.
Thanks for listening to my table.
Yeah, have fun.
I should probably depart too. My
Glad
wife's
to have you,
getting
man.
dinner on the table.
Good night. Have fun. Win. Kill them all.
Do the good murder.
If it's not a TPK, do you even care?
Well, when you cast Fireball at the Barbarian's birthday party, it's a total party killer.
That's right.
Now I got the button there. See you.
And I should probably depart too. My wife's getting dinner ready, so I will catch you gentlemen later.
Thanks for coming by. It's nice to meet you, man.
Absolutely. I might poke my head in here on a Monday night that I'm not busy chasing my toddler.
Excellent.
Yeah. All right. Talk to y'all later.
All right, man. Talk to you. So now,
well, Jack, I was gonna say something, but I forgot. I was gonna say something. I have no idea what I was gonna say. It was important.
It was super important.
Not that important,
well,
I guess.
We were going to go back to finishing our story about Kal Arath and the convention this weekend.
Is that what we're doing?
That's what we started when we said to have
after the mantises, after the broken ribbed, broken leg hobbler distracted the mantises, and we took 6 down. Yeah, and that basically. So it was we had the one super brutal fight, and then we fought all the mantises on the way to the grove that we hadn't connected Mantis Grove yet. Like I say, I don't think. Because maybe you mentioned the module really quick, but then we spent, maybe a half hour in character creation, 5 minutes, but 5 minutes for 6 people.
Yeah. That's what it was. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and so we decided, it was 4 hours long. Okay, let's cut here. We'll go back to town. We'll recuperate. You let us level, which was good. And then the next day we had 3 new people come in, so it was kind of you to let us bring in our level 2 characters, although I don't think any of the level 2s lived. It was only the couple level 1 guys that ended up making it in the end. And because there was enough of us there, you let us basically pick up where we left off. You had a couple more. Your character didn't have faith in us, so he had some backups stuffed in the boat that we didn't even know about.
He's called Cauldron the Bright,
and so we kind of told. Right. He's very bright. It was a good idea, and they all died in the end anyway. So it was a good thing he brought.
I knew that. I needed you guys to soften up. I must have seen the Golem battle in the future.
Right.
Yeah, I better bring some extras just in case.
Right. And so we picked up where we left off and we made our way back to the grove, and we actually snuck, around some of the mantises. We were smart enough to try to hide a little better this time and saw where they were coming from. There was a cave, and it was we don't want to go there. That
was a great moment too, because I said before we even got there, I was okay, if they just decide to hang out and watch the mantises for a while, they're going to see one fly off in the direction of the grove.
Right.
And that's exactly what happened. And you guys picked up on it right away.
Right. And we were a little back and forth. It was we're here for these woods and there's mantises. It's a grove. So we should maybe look. And then it was and they're going to a cave, but that's probably just a lot more hungry mantises. But when the one flew off, and it did take some deliberation, do we just want to follow? Because it didn't seem like Ultra wanted to follow it. He was no, we need to go.
Yeah, we need to go someplace else. We need to do something. Yeah.
Right. And that was the right choice. And then we had a rogue in the party. We didn't have that the first day. And so he was able to sneak with amazing stealth, sneak into this other grove after we had followed this lone mantis for a while. and he was able to get off a couple miracle crit shots on like the druid we had been sent to kill. Actually downed him. He wasn't dead, but downed him. And in the tussle, like the other characters were able to get in there, and it was some good fight. We lost a couple, dropped pretty fast, and were fodder. We managed to kill because like dude got a couple crits on the druid, but he wasn't dead because of the way the death system worked. I think like I went in next and, you know, sword through the heart while he's unconscious, and he still wasn't dead yet.
Like one more
he was
round.
fatally wounded.
He's bleeding out.
Right, but he had one more round. And Karma gave the same thing to me later. I got that one more round after I had been fatally wounded, right? But and then we had a magic user for the first time. And so they had this awesome spell they were wanting to use and like just couldn't because we were all in there. And we were all going to die. And finally, the dice and the way the monsters were attacking worked out just right to where everybody that was conscious could get out of the way, out of the range of this spell. And so it's like, do it. Like, you know, rain hellfire down on these guys. Because, like, we didn't know what the spell was. He knew, you knew, but we didn't. We just knew we needed to be at least 30 feet away, right?
Yeah, that's the long and short of it.
Right, it's this big buildup, and he goes and he rolls, and it's a critical fail, which is a bad, like a fumble is bad. Not only will he lose all of his magic for the day, but like something bad's gonna happen. And it was like, oh crap! But then, so Kal Arath gives you a fate point. You get one fate point, and he hadn't used it, so that gives you a reroll. And he hadn't thought, it was like, hey, dude, do you have you can re-roll
That's
this?
actually,
and if he would have rolled,
said that's standard advice for spellcasters and
for a spellcaster, save it for your spell, which is sage advice. And so he had it and he used it. And if he would have gotten anything other than a crit, he would have killed these monsters. Everything would have been a-okay. But he went from rolling snake eyes, a critical fumble, to 12, 2 6s, a critical. And so now all of us that are, you know, safely just over 30 feet away are caught in this massively magnified critical super death cloud. Right. And like a few of us lived a round or two through it, but it like we all got just murderlated. He was unaffected as the spellcaster. And there was one guy that was far enough out of range that I think he got a little bit, but it was okay.
Yeah, I think it was he got damaged and managed to get away. It didn't take him down, but the other people who were in there, and the sad thing was, the irony was that by the time he got that spell off, it hardly hurt the mantis for all the player. For all the party members that it wiped out. I was like, no.
Oh yeah, and I forgot he actually raised the druid, so he was like some sort of like necromancer, and so he did after the druid had finally like died. He actually raised it to help us, and it went after. I think it maybe got one hit on the mantises if it got through the chitin, but they took him down pretty fast. Right?
What it did is,
so it was, dude, it was fun. It was like the way the dice rolled out, the way everything played out. Everybody had a super good time. The one guy that killed us all was like, man, I'm so sorry. It's like, dude, like the way that played out, like everybody had so much fun.
You couldn't plan that out.
Epic. Right. You couldn't. Yeah. There was no way to plan that. Yeah. It was super
one
fun.
teensy GMing regret to think about the day after. I was like, had I been a little bit more mentally agile in the moment, I would have said, okay, in that last moment, the spell is way more powerful than he himself expected. And all of you people who were in that secondary ring, the ones who were conscious and able to move, you guys get an agility test because you see that deadly fog come rolling at you and you can start trucking through the woods.
Right. And I actually had, like, I still had my fate point. So when I rolled and got the fatal wound, I could have re-rolled it. But in the heat of all the moment and how cool the story was turning out to be, like, I didn't even think about it. And I had armor. So, like, I had 9 hit points. I took 9 damage. That was the 0 that triggered the roll. But really, if I would have remembered that, oh, yeah, I got light armor, like, I would have had that 1 hit point. So technically, I probably could have lived. But the story was going so good and we were so heat of the moment. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't go back, you know, like that was my bad as a player for not,
Yeah, that is true. And
same thing, like if he wouldn't have, if we wouldn't have reminded him about his fate point, like we would have had that critical fumble.
Yes.
You know, it's like if you don't catch it or somebody else doesn't say something before it moves on, like you've taken your finger off the chess piece, buddy. Right? Like,
now here's the thing: there's a magical arcane, a critical failure is an arcane disaster. So if we think hypothetically, well, if he hadn't spent his fate point, that critical failure, he would have rolled again and would have got a 12. Oh, that's the easiest one. The spell fails, but the caster only suffers minor effects from a small psychic backlash. You know,
right. I actually found a cool little quick start that somebody had put out for free. I don't know if that table is on it though.
Probably not. I would imagine the spell mishap isn't there. And I've seen a lot of
it's not.
Is it one of the things that you shared in the chat?
Yeah, it was just one of the things I shared. So it had, it had the oracle, the weathers, different other things, but it had combat laid out, spells, had the health and death thing. It was just a quick free one pager. Like I wasn't paying for anything in there. So, so there's actually quite a few creators for Kal Arath.
Yeah, there's a ton of them. I've got one of the major ones is Silver Nightingale. I've got Alrathak, which is a major.
And this was Silver Nightingale that had put out the couple things that the character sheet in this that
if I have in my way, Silver Nightingale will be a guest on the show. So for that.
Nice. Yeah.
And Silver Nightingale is in the server, so you can reach out and say hello whenever you're ready.
Nice. Yeah.
But
definitely. Is Castle Grief in there though? Like I'm in Grief's Discord too, but I don't think I've
as a matter of fact, yes, Castle Grief is in the Discord. They're not active. They're quiet. They're lurkers. I have a pro lurker policy in my server. I don't mind people wanting to come in and just see what we're doing, and that was what lured him in. The fact that we're doing a solo cooperative one time thing. He just wanted to see how we're doing things, But
which I've got some time. I got to solo play a little. It is 1-to-1 though, so I can't get ahead. I'll have to track my time.
Here's the thing:
so I can
you can play ahead, but you can't catch up. So like if you play tonight, but still wanting to be available on Thursday, you can just do, okay, well, I can do, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days of full travel, adventuring, exploring, as long as you're back in town by that time, you'll still be available to play on Sunday, And
well, now I got to roll up a new character because I'm dead.
Well,
so
that's another thing entirely.
Yeah.
Well, on the plus side, you get to start over at first level.
Right, for sure. Yeah.
Now,
we'll see. And like the other character classes, it was interesting. So playing in the two games, I think we got to see every kind of character, basically, because we didn't have them all in the first one, and we had the other. So it was interesting to see how they actually played in this system. You could see, okay, this guy definitely has this benefit. This guy definitely, like, that rule was cool. And it might have just been that the skill they happened to pick, right? But to see how those played out, like, I could see that being fun.
Right. You're the only character who chose to play an explorer, and which is sad because for a couple of reasons. Explorers, when you go into the full expanded rules, are much better in terms of better skills and stuff like that. But I wanted to keep things simple by sticking to the book.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And
it was good.
And we actually did have a mystic in both days. There was a mystic the first day as well. He just never got a chance to cast spells.
To cast a spell.
Actually, I think he did.
Well, that's right. Yeah, because we were too piled around the golem. He was going to around the golem, but it was like we would all die.
Right. And different kind of spell caster. He had spells that wouldn't work on the golem because it didn't actually have blood, but he was able to cast a spell on the mantis later. But it was all around great. We had plenty of warriors. We had a couple of mystics. We had the one rogue, and he really did get a lot of mileage out of that stealth. That's one of those things. I love good rogue players because they're the kind of people who think in the proper way, and they really know how to make advantage of that stealth. And he was definitely key in that battle because like you said,
for sure.
He rolled a critical stealthing up on the druid, and that's why I was like, okay, yeah, it was a critical. You got right up on that dude. You got a free shot. You can shoot him if you want. He's like, I'm going to do that. And whatever and they got that ability that gives me a second shot, I'm going to drop 2 hours in him.
Right. With that ability, it's like he always got the second shot was at disadvantage, but like not only could he stealth in, but he always got 2 tries to hit, and usually at least one of them would connect, which was great, you know. And you're not losing damage at all. It's just your chance to hit might not be quite as good.
And it's totally that was one of like I said, Jeremy, I've seen use that skill with a melee character. Great selection, very strategic, and it's so it works so much better than I thought it was. It was initially I was like, oh, it's at disadvantage. I'll go for one of the other ones, like more straightforward. But yeah, great fun stuff. So what was your take on the game overall after 2 sessions in it? Like
oh, I loved it. I had a blast. And, you know, part of that was the players. Part of that, you know, obviously is the dungeon master makes any game great, right? Yeah, like you're fun. I've watched you run stuff before, and I could imagine off screen it could get, you know, super, super cool, especially if you have something all built out. But yeah, the system was super simple. It was super quick. It was fun. You know, like doing the rolls, doing the attacks against yourself. There was, I mean, even at first level, like you have enough skills and enough things to do that you're always doing something. Like nobody was, I mean, except for the guy, like Ultra a few times was unconscious for 17 rounds or whatever. Yes. So there was times where like he was just kind of watching, but it was like even, you know, it's like I was knocked out once and there was enough entertainment with everybody else that you're still having fun. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And
so just the way that the game moves, you're always having fun. And that was, you know, 6 players is a lot for a solo game, right? Like technically it's built for solo play.
It's not solo centric. It's solo first, you know, and and like I was saying, both those sessions were the largest Kal Arath sessions I've run yet. In terms of number of players, and so it was a fun way to really kick the tires on it and see how fast it goes, and it was. Hey Dan, glad to see you, man.
Right, and then you know we had one player that's been in all the GUOGC games every year. That's not quite as quick as the rest. And so I would imagine, cool, right, and nice, right. So I would imagine, you know, if everybody was on the ball, it would have been even more chop, right? Like you could have gotten a little more action out of the deal. And like, I love that not everybody is super patient with him, but he's been in every GUOGC. He's in like every game. I don't know how he found out or got in, because I don't ever see him at Bill's show or anything like that. Right. But like, dude, I've seen him run the Tomb of Horrors with hardcore 1E people. I've seen, like, it's just insane. And everybody is so patient, which is good because, you know, he's handicapped, right? Yep. So it's like, that's how open the GUOGC is. It doesn't matter. Everybody is, for the most part, super. I heard there was a little drama in Tony's game. Somebody kind of rage quit.
Oh, did they?
Because they felt they didn't. Yeah, so he ran his kind of Scooby-Doo haunted house module, which is fun, but this dude so Jeremy had played it before, right? He did it I think on a playtest on Patty's Parlor. So he's like, well, I know the module, and one of the characters you can be is like the equivalent of Scooby. So you're the dog, so you can only do like dog things, right? Like, yes, you're playing, but you're a dog. And so Jeremy's like, oh yeah, well, let me be the dog. Like, I've played this before. This will be perfect for me. I'll have fun with it. And somebody else just really, really wanted to play that dog. And then halfway through, they got really upset because they felt like they didn't have player agency, or they were being railroaded, and they actually kind of rage quit. And it's like, yeah, dude, you're the dog. Like, you can't, you know, you have no thumbs. You can't, right? So, which is sad, but that's the only negative I heard about anything, and everybody still had a lot of fun.
Yeah, cool.
Right.
Cool.
Right. And it's the same thing. Like watching things, it was like at first it was, but now I've seen it and it's like, okay, like he's it doesn't matter how intense the game is, how complex it is. He's going to be there. Huh?
What?
What did you say? What do
I
do?
rolled a 5.
But it's also great that he gets to be there, and
Well,
you can tell he has a lot of fun.
And that was true. It was, I've had years myself of working with the mentally handicapped, and I taught kids back when I was doing the karate thing. So, so it was familiar territory. I must confess, I was much more tired the second day, and so
And when it's the same thing, when things aren't being remembered like that, I think that's what frustrates people.
Yes.
It's like,
it was that.
It's your initiative. Just roll the d6.
Yeah. I dropped that stuff. I'm not gonna. I'm not counting on you to remember how to roll initiative. It's initiative time. Roll d6 plus 1. I know your character.
Right. And you handled it super well. Like, I know a couple of people got frustrated for their. Yeah. Are you gonna kill us? Will there be monsters?
Are you gonna torment us?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Mostly by having you as a player, but that's unkind.
Yeah.
And I didn't say that. That was your imagination.
But yeah, no, you handled that really well. I think most everybody in both games handled it really well. And then, like I say, I've seen people that don't have patience that are running really intense games, and people from other countries. And like I say, I've seen him go through the heart of Tomb of Horrors, and everybody does really well and is really patient. Every once in a while, somebody's like, "Dude,
like, come on,
right? Like, come on." Oh yeah, okay. Oh yeah. So, but he handles it well as well.
Good,
so
good man.
Yeah.
All right, Michael, we are coming up on that 2-hour mark. Do you got any closing comments?
Yeah, dude, pleasure to hang out. Well, I'm gonna plug. So we actually scored Harmony Ginger on Thursday over on Patty's Parlor, and I think we're gonna try to get her to convince.
She's going through
Jeremy.
A slumming it phase.
Yeah, she's totally slumming it, dude. So come watch that, and we're doing it early for her.
Oh, good. Yes, she's an East Coaster like me.
It'll be a 6:00 Thursday stream, and it'll be fun. I've wanted to talk to her about Divine Council, her game, just the stuff she deals with on X. And I know Jeremy's on this 1-to-1 kick where he just wants to argue with everybody about it. And so it's like, well, we'll get you another bro in here, because we had Scooty Mike, but Scooty Mike came in full bro SR, and that was a great episode. If you haven't,
I think I saw that way back.
He's an amazing guy. So Jeremy, like, he didn't even ask or push or anything, but it's like, he really wants to get Dunder or something to come on and argue with him. And it's like, and it's weird because, like, the conversation's been going on for years, and we all know how it works. It's all been explained. You can all see the benefits. You could see the types of games that would fit better. Nobody really cares what you do at your table as long as you're having fun. It's all the same thing. But all of a sudden, the last month, for whatever reason, it's like super on his radar. Like, we had a guest on last night that makes Greyhawk stuff for Castles and Crusades. And a lot of cool. And he's even with him. Oh, well, what about you 1-to-1 time? And it's like, dude, you playing his game? He doesn't use it. Like, it's just kind of funny. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes. Should be a good conversation.
Which is hysterical because Jeremy was the first one to remind the new players in our Kal Arath server that, hey, we use 1-to-1 time. So we just
Right, for sure. And so it's like, I know he enjoys it. I like it. It's just kind of funny because it always comes up. Oh, we gotta ask him about.
You gotta ask him about it.
You gotta ask him about it.
It's the definitive thing. It's like, okay, what's your take on the D&D 24 books? Have you looked at them? Have you bought them? What's your take?
Right. Yeah, for sure. Have you?
I do own them. I bought actual copies. I've read them. I've even played solo a bit, a couple of sessions, and
nice.
And I'm in the same boat that I was with 5th edition when I first bought those books. I like them, don't love them. Maybe I would love them if I used them more. But I'm also not repulsed. Like, so it's, for me, it's kind of an odd thing. So many 5th edition fans reject it just out of hand, and I'm like, they look very similar to me, but I've had people explain that no, they're so different. They're not even like, it's not even a half edition thing. It really should be.
And it's kind of interesting. Like, I was in that creator panel with Stephen Radney McFarlane, and he worked on all that stuff, and like, a lot of people really like Mike Merles and what he did with 5th. And he's like, you got to remember, this is the guy that made 4th edition. And he's like, you also have to remember that even though it's hidden really well, there is a lot of 4th in 5th, a lot more than you would think. It's mainly just 4th and 3.5 together, but hidden when you get into the action economies and the way the game actually works. And people don't realize that. And he said 5.5 is even more 4th edition snuck in there. Right. So it's interesting, like mechanically, you know, and it's really well hidden in the verbatim. But if you were to break it down, like, so it's like, yeah, you guys say you hate it, but really you kind of like it. We've changed the wording and changed the, you know, the semantics around it. Yeah. So it is kind of interesting.
Mono and mono.
Yeah. Yeah. Stereos, but quad. What about quad? There's no quad.
I'm all in the
quad
surround
is better
sound
than
world.
Surround. Yeah, surround is good, but quad was even better. You don't have to go back to 8 tracks, but 4-channel stereo is better than background noises behind you. But yes, I do. Yeah. I'm a big stereo guy.
That is nice.
I think we'll drag Jack on board one day. It's past his bedtime.
Yeah, we are getting there now. It'll be normally it's past my bedtime.
Yeah,
so you know, on some day where I get special permission to stay up late, I'll come on your team and I'll be in my pajamas. And you guys can read me a bedtime story about Kal Arath.
Yeah. We'll get you on the parlor again, or get you to run something. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna say goodnight. I'm gonna let you have your show back so you can say goodbye to everybody.
Good night.
If I can figure out how to leave. It's the leave button. It's over there. Good night, Jack.
Good night, Michael. Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
And once again, I'm all by myself. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been another exciting and eclectic episode of John with Jack Open Lines. And I hope you join me again next weekend. We've got further things coming. We are going to be doing some interviews here. I just wanted to give us a little time into some other time zones and have greater opportunity for other people. Thank you, everybody.